After you've been letting go of old definitions of success, something becomes impossible to ignore: your body. Not in a dramatic way, not in a burn it all down way, but in quiet ways your body has been talking to you for a long time and you've been translating it as something else. Fatigue that doesn't always go away after a weekend, irritability that shows up faster than it used to, a sense that even good things require more effort than they once did. For years, you probably told yourself that this was just the cost of being capable, the price of ambition, and the reality of responsibility. You assumed hustle was neutral, necessary, temporary. But in this season, hustle starts asking for more than you're willing to give. And that's when the tension begins. Because high capacity women don't struggle with effort. We struggle with permission. Permission to slow down without guilt. Permission to admit that what's worked is no longer does. Permission to stop pretending that sustainability is optional. I remember the moment I realized I couldn't keep lying or living in the same place. Not because everything was falling apart, but because nothing felt spacious anymore. My days were full, my life felt small, my calendar was packed, but my energy was thin. I was doing meaningful work, but it was rarely present. I was rarely present for it. And the hardest part was admitting that hustle wasn't helping anymore. It was hiding the problem. Hustle was a way of numbing awareness. It keeps you busy enough not to notice what you're sacrificing. It convinces you that rest can wait. That margin is indulgent. That sustainability is something you'll address later. When things slow down, but things don't slow down on their own. They only slow down when you choose differently. That realization can be very unsettling, especially for women who've built their lives on reliability. When people count on you, slowing down can feel irresponsible. You worry about letting others down. You worry about losing momentum. You worry about what happens if you stop holding everything and everyone together. But sustainability isn't about dropping the ball. It's about deciding which balls were never yours to carry in the first place. That decision doesn't come easily. It requires honesty about your limits. It requires compassion about your humanity. It requires willingness to disappoint expectations that were built in a different season of your life. And that's why sustainability often feels like loss before it feels like freedom. You lose the adrenaline. You lose the illusion that pushing harder will fix everything. You lose the identity of being the one who can always do more. But what you gain is something far more valuable. You gain presence. You gain clarity. You gain the ability to stay in your life without constantly outrunning yourself. And many high capacity women, this is the moment when the idea of working smarter, not harder, stops being a slogan and starts becoming a necessity. I want to say that one more time. This is the moment when the whole idea of working smarter, not harder, stops being a slogan, but becomes a way of life. And it's a necessity for you. You begin noticing how what you want your days to feel like. You become more aware of which commitments drain you quietly. You start paying attention to how much recovery your body actually needs. And instead of seeing that as weakness, you begin seeing that as wisdom. Sustainability is not about shrinking your life. It's about designing the one you can actually live inside. This is where so many women get stuck because they try to redesign their lives in isolation. They sit alone with big questions and journals and notebooks and music in the background. And they ask themselves these big questions about all the things about their time and energy and work and purpose without anyone to normalize that conversation. And then isolation makes sustainability feel selfish. But when you surround yourself with women who understand what it costs to carry a lot, sustainability feels responsible, necessary, and even brave. That's why spaces like the VonSwy Recreation Station matter so much in this season. Not because they give you a new plan, but because they give you permission to listen to yourself without judgment. A place where no one is impressed by burnout. A place where rest isn't something you have to earn. A place where designing a sustainable life is seen as leadership, not laziness. And if you're watching this and realizing that that hustle no longer fits the life you want to live, I want you to know that you're not failing. You're recalibrating. And recalibration takes time. It takes honesty and it takes support. You don't need to change everything today. You don't need to announce a new direction to your family and your friends and your coworkers. You don't need to have a perfect answer. You don't need to stop ignoring what your life has been telling you. If you want a place to sit with that awareness, to explore what sustainability could look like for you without pressure, then the VonSwy Recreation Station exists for that. You can enter quietly, you can observe, you can take your time, and tomorrow we'll talk about what happens when women finally give themselves permission to choose and choose differently without guilt and without apology. And for now, let yourself rest in this truth. A sustainable life is not a smaller life. It is a truer one. My name is LaTashia Martin, also known as Techie Tasha, and I work with high-capacity women just like you who have a yearning and a desire for freedom and flexibility, but they recognize that they can't do it alone. They need community. So have a great day, and until tomorrow, God bless.